All right, it is district breakdown time. Our first one of the summer. My guy Matt Diggs still basking in the glow of that Plano East state title in basketball. But I got to get his mind right. I got to shift his head a little bit to football. Not only football, we're going to talk the private school ranks. And anytime you talk private school ranks here in DFW, you got to start with Paris Episcopal, who is going for their sixth straight state title. And the funny stat there is they played five different opponents in the state title game. You can't even say that with Duncanville and DeSoto. Well, you can't say it with DeSoto, but talk about this team, man. Are they ready for number six?
We're very excited about Parish Episcopal. Division One is a little bit more predictable. Ward, when I was doing my research for our TAPS talk, I noticed a recurring theme when I was going through Division One, Division Two, Division Three, Division Four, and I doubt you'll be talking about this on the Houston equivalent because we've got state champions all over the place here in private school football, and really the team that if you want to go a little controversy, I know you want to get those little 30-second clips to put on TikTok. I think Parish Episcopal is primed to be the next Jesuit because I think they've done just about everything they can do in the private school ranks. Division One, they're in the biggest TAPS football league, and they are absolutely dominating. And to me, I'm not really even seeing a close second. If you had to press me, Ward, I'd say Plano Prestonwood might be the team to watch. But when you got Sawyer Anderson coming back at quarterback, I mean, Parish Episcopal is going to be the favorite for that sixth championship. And it's not like it's just, the Sawyer Anderson show. You got Carson Darby coming back. You got Landry Sadler over there on the defensive side of the ball. So Parish Episcopal is loaded and ready to go, but I don't know if they've made their track, their non-district track, as strong as it was the last couple of years with Aledo. So I wonder if that'll be something that will play into things, Ward.
I did talk to Coach Navakov a little earlier, and he did mention the fact that the TAPS realignment got a little bigger for them, so they don't have as many teams as they could mess with. And a couple of the teams they were going to play kind of bailed out because their districts got mixed up a little bit. But what was most interesting, and maybe you can use the psychology of this, he talked about it's gotten to the point now when they win the title, they do one of these deals and say, okay, thank God we're not the team that lost this streak. And they don't really celebrate it as much as thank God we're not the disastrous team, as he put it, that ended up losing that streak. Is there something to that? I mean, is it something to the point where, man, you can't even really celebrate your victories because you're expected so much?
It's tough. And we know with Aledo, and we saw Aledo in Parish Episcopal, which is a perfect non-district, they kind of have that problem in Aledo, 12 state championships, and who's going to not protect the tradition year after year. And I think that could be a very dangerous mindset. It's a gratitude mindset that you've got to be in there and be grateful for every game and every championship instead of being worried about winning. And you see that with long winning streaks. I know in some of the longer winning streaks we've seen in some of the UIL football things, we're almost saying, oh, like Franklin lost last year. We're glad they lost because it got that monkey off of their back. So I get where they're coming from, but at the same time, I think you really have to get in the mindset of every year is a fresh battle. And even though you're going to be the favorite, and even though TAPS realignment may not have done you some favors, you still have to go out there and execute. It's like I said, you got a team like Plano Prestonwood breathing down your neck. It was just a couple of years ago when they made a really big overhaul push. That's when they brought Brazel in, may he rest in peace, and they really started to highlight that. But then they kind of opened up that new Plano Prestonwood up there in Preston, or up on Preston Road over there in Prosper, which has kind of taken away some of their numbers. But now that that's leveled off, I really think Plano Prestonwood could be a team to watch. And it hasn't been too long since Fort Worth Nolan was really the big dog, right there with Parish Episcopal, and I think we could see Fort Worth Nolan coming back this year as well.
And of course, there's the one team that we haven't talked about that got bumped up to Division One this year is Argyle Liberty Christian. They're no longer in Division Two, and Jason Witten's kind of turned that thing around. I mean, they had a running clock in the second half of their championship game last year, and now they're a team that could, face Paris Episcopal somewhere in the playoffs. They definitely will face them in the regular season. What do you think about that push up?
Our Argyle Liberty is really, they've really developed, and they bring a lot of players back too. They got both Witten kids back there. I know that just makes your your Washington football team heart happy. But you're gonna have to replace the quarterback. Obviously, their Marcus transfer graduating, Cole Welliver, and they're gonna have to find out that right fit for them. But they still got their running back coming back and Chase Garnett, two really talented receivers coming back, and Brady Janusek and Quentin Brown. But I think there is a big drop off from Division One to Division Two. But Coach Witten's over there got them rolling, so he might provide a good competition for Parish Episcopal, but I think they're going to need at least 1 year to kind of develop with the bigger size and the bigger depth that Division One has. But you know what? Coach Witten might be cutting this right now and saying, "No, we're ready this year." Listen to this crazy guy on the campfire talking smack about us. We're going to use this as fuel because we got one team over here who's worried about losing and protecting tradition, and they don't understand this professional mindset we've got over here. So there's definitely something to that with Argyle Liberty. I think they'll be at least a year away from competing with Parish Episcopal. You got to get Sawyer Anderson to graduate before you can make a serious run at them.
That is true. Four straight years of being their starting quarterback. Hadn't lost a district game, I believe it was. I definitely hadn't lost a state playoff game. We know that. And then let's talk a little bit about Dallas Christian, if you're ready, because that's a nice team out there in Mesquite area. They bring back a solid quarterback. They brought a wide receiver in from Naaman Forest, who's he's a TC recruit, Chance Abels, but you wouldn't know that by playing at Naaman Forest. Maybe he can show some things a little bit more with Luke Carney throwing on the rock.
Yeah, Luke Carney was really, really a special player last year, and he had the kind of technique because he had Speedy Nettles and they had all kinds of depth there. And now it's going to be him to really run the things for Division Three. And you said they've already got one transfer over there. I think they may need one or two more pieces to replace everything that they lost last year. But Luke Carney coming back, who understands the system, understands the coaches, is obviously a really big big piece of that. But you got Arlington Grace Prep, you got McKinney Christian, you got some teams in there that can really be pushing Dallas Christian, and it's going to be a toss-up. I think more than any of the other divisions, I really think that what Dallas Christian is going to have to do, I think they're going to have a harder time repeating. Now, Liberty Christian might fall under an exception because they got opted up, so they're not really defending their Division II championship. They got to go and unseat Parish Episcopal. But I think Dallas Christian is going to struggle a little bit. I don't think they're a surefire, guaranteed repeat like I might think Parish Episcopal is.
Diggs, I appreciate you talking private school with me, man. Next week we are going to talk lower classifications, get you back into your element a little bit, a little small school Dixie in the mix.
Dixie arrives.
We always like that.
And I have this is a little bit of a teaser for next week. I have some very fun hypotheticals in the 2A ranks. We're going to see if Ward's brain will be blown away by these hypotheticals, or if he'll just cut it out there and say, Diggs, we're not even talking about that. I am the producer, and we will not talk about that kind of nonsense. But you'll have to tune in next week to see what it is here on the District Breakdown.
All righty. I'll talk to you next week, Diggs.